Exactly, because well begun is half done. It's only half done. The other half is left because the burden of proof is on prosecution. Even if it is the condition slapped at UAP and PMLA, where the accused have to prove themselves innocent, because you're guilty till proven innocent. But still, the courts will have to make a very strong case in the courts. Somewhere one gets the feeling that they have taken the last 1.5 to 2 years to build a very, very strong case, a watertight one where charges will stick on those who have now been arrested. Let's hope that works. Before I bring in Ratan Shardaji, here is one more angle, ladies and gentlemen, the inner workings. The inner workings of the PFI. We get you details of the inner workings of the PFI. This is how organized and structured they are. OMA Salam is the chairman, that's the core leadership. The vice chairman is EM Abdul Rahman. He's the general secretary, and the general secretary is Anis Ahmed. So Anis Ahmed has been at the forefront of rebutting all the charges against the PFI. He's their more seen face. VP Nasiruddin is one of their secretaries. So these are the various secretaries. Afsar Pasha and Mohammad Shakif. So these are the secretaries. So that's the organizational structure. Then the core committees. PFI operations are handled by 15 different councils. Key operations are run by 4 departments, 4 major departments. There is the expansion department, the guidance department, the spy department, and they also have a physical training department. Then they have overseas wings. Where all do they have overseas wings? They have overseas wings in Saudi Arabia, which is headed by Sharafuddin Pazehari. Then they have overseas operations in the UAE, that's headed by Naushad. In Oman, it's headed by Ashfaq. In Qatar, you have Dr. Taj Alua, who's running the operations. And of course, after that in Turkey, which is run by NM Kuryakal. So this is largely in the Gulf, in this region, where they have their operations. And the Turkey operations have been very, very active in the recent past, ladies and gentlemen. So let me go across to Ratan Shardaji and ask him, Ratan Shardaji, the PFI believes they are the mirror, the Muslim mirror for the RSS. And they believe RSS is the bane of their existence. They are only going after the RSS. Why have you turned them into anti-national and anti-India? Their activities are only against the RSS. That's what they do. Even when they celebrate the Mopla riots and the Mopla massacre 102 years later, they walk around with the RSS figurines because saying this is how we'll treat the RSS.
See, PFI represents the global threat of Islam, the radical Islam of the global nature, where you find riots against Hindus in Birmingham, in Leicester, you find them in Kashmir, you find them in Kerala, Bengal. So this is the basic nature. And this happened even before RSS was born. So let us not, take their word for what they're talking about, because it's basic very nature of how the PFI works, because that is how the radical Islam works. I will just dismiss at that point. My larger point is, as I said, there's a global effort to create trouble across the world with every non-Muslim group, whether it's Jews, whether it's Christians or anybody else. Now, I would first of all, I'm very happy that 3 most difficult to please people like Mr. Baer, Mr. Shant Sareen and Mr. Sood have been very positive about this development. That gives a lot of heart. That makes me believe something is definitely right. And coming to the reason why these people survived, I will go back to your own first statement that Madani, who was involved, who was accused in the bomb blast, serial blast in Coimbatore, a resolution was passed in Kerala Assembly, which was supported by all the parties, including Congress, Muslim League, leftists, to give him a bail. If this is the kind of support they get, now Congress today said this raid on PFI is diversionary tactics. So indirectly, when you've got people who will give curve fire to these people, definitely government will do much more hard work than normally would be required to tackle these people.
Correct.
And I can definitely say this highly well-organized operation is one thing. My point is that the gloves are off. The Shaheen Bagh mentality, the Tablighi Jamaat mentality of letting people carry on with whatever they want to carry on and be benign to them has been given up. It's iron fist now, and I believe that this is not a small step. This is they have taken it a resolve to crush the very mentality. Because banning CME will create one more person, something else. Ideology is more important, which can create such multi-headed monsters. So this is an effort to simply crush the entire global network where you've got people right from Bangladesh to Middle East to feed each other and to spread the propaganda. And this started way back 2012 when we saw the most horrendous riots across India, not against just the local people or specifically against Northeast to protect the Rohingyas. At that time also the technology was used and street power was used. So when you are trying to crush it has to be at one comprehensive level. I think this is the biggest operation ever after independent India, where the massive operation has gone against this entire network, the web of conspiracies, the web of terror, where everybody feeds on each other. There are covers on the front. Just like urban Naxals have a cover for the Naxals, the violent Naxals, we have democratic parties, so-called. We have got so-called secular parties who are giving cover to these people, and that had also be exposed, I think, by not banning Simi and letting people keep on opening their mouth and exposing themselves. One of the important strategy was to let these people, more and more people get exposed and let them come out, and we know who is supporting whom. I've seen some farcical debates going on about what is the comparison between RSS and PFI. There is no comparison. RSS is a highly patriotic local organization. It has no affiliations worldwide. It doesn't encourage violence. It doesn't supplies terrorists, as your chart shows, to anywhere to kill people. So there is no comparison at all. But still they will carry on. And this is my worry point, that you can crush the what is overground, how you take care of people who are providing them cover fire, providing them sleeper cells. And I think this is the area where these agencies seem to have worked.
Ratan Chardha, let me ask you this. Like Abhijit Majumdar was reading a passage from that Mission 2047 document where they said, let's use Constitution, Ambedkar and some of these common words and these angles to try and hide our actual agenda, that is of Pan-Islamism. Do you believe that this entire aspect of trying to target Hindus, Hindustan, people of India, RSS is a great foil? Use RSS Hindutva to go ahead and say, no, we are delineating Hindu and Hindutva. We are going after only RSS. Hindus are good people, but RSS and RSS people are bad people. So is this a very convenient narrative that's being stitched? Because you see political parties and political leaders also singing the same song.
See, this game of trying to differentiate intellectual gymnastics or trying to differentiate Hindutva and Hinduism was very clearly out in the open when dismantling Hindutva conferences took place in USA, where they said, we don't worry, we don't differentiate between Hindutva and Hinduism. You want to crush Hindus, you use any excuse or some such words of that kind, which have been clearly recorded in the seminars. Secondly, in Birmingham, what did the guy say? You give up RSS, you give BJP, we will protect you, or rather we will not trouble you. So clearly they are worried about organized Hindus, because Hinduism is the only, or essence of Hinduism or Hinduness is the only foil which will try to fight this highly supremacist, exclusivist idea and philosophy, because we believe in pluralism, we believe in inclusiveness, we believe in giving respect to all the religions. This is the big roadblock for these exclusivist religions. That is the reason they are trying to make RSS a whipping boy, and unfortunately secular lobby supports them, because nowhere, anywhere where RSS or BJP has gone, you have seen atrocities on Muslims. There have been more riots under Congress. There have been, if you remember partition, the suffering people were all Hindus and Sikhs, and it was under Congress. Forget about others. Even in Kashmir, it was under Congress and secular parties that there was continuous aggression against Hindus, which finally led to exodus. And nobody came forward. Nobody talked about it. Media was not allowed to talk about that. So this is the condition of India, which is slowly turning, and people can see through the game.